Imagine waking up in a world where every coin in your pocket tells a story. Every marketplace is a crossroads of empires, and every financial decision could change the fate of a civilization. Today, we're going to travel back in time, not just to marvel at the wonders of the past, but to uncover the money lessons that ancient civilizations mastered, and that most of us are still ignoring. These aren't just dusty tales from history books. They're powerful, practical strategies that shape the rise and fall of empires, and they're more relevant to your life and your wallet than you might think. Let's start with a simple question. Why do some societies thrive for centuries, while others collapse almost overnight? The answer, more often than not, comes down to how they manage their resources, their trade, and their wealth. The ancients didn't have smartphones, stock markets, or online banking, but they understood the core principles of money sometimes better than we do today. And if you're willing to listen, their stories can help you avoid the mistakes that doomed kings and empires, and seize the opportunities that made fortunes for generations. Our journey begins in the bustling markets of ancient Mesopotamia, the so-called cradle of civilization. Picture the city of Babylon with its towering ziggurats and vibrant bazaars. Here, over 4,000 years ago, the first recorded financial contracts were written on clay tablets. These weren't just simple IOUs. They were sophisticated agreements, complete with interest rates, repayment schedules, and even early forms of collateral. The Babylonians understood that trust is the foundation of any economy. Without trust, trade grinds to a halt, and wealth evaporates. That's why they developed a legal system to enforce contracts and protect property rights, a lesson that's just as important today. Whether you're signing a lease, investing in stocks, or starting a business. But the Babylonians didn't stop there. They also pioneered the concept of diversification. Instead of putting all their wealth into one crop or one trade route, they spread their investments across different ventures. Some lent money to farmers, others to merchants, and still others to temple projects. This way, if one part of the economy faltered, they wouldn't lose everything. It's the same principle behind modern portfolio theory. And it's a lesson that too many investors ignore, often at their peril. Now, let's fast forward to ancient Egypt, a civilization that lasted for over 3,000 years. The Egyptians were masters of long-term planning. They built massive granaries to store surplus grain during good years, so they could survive the inevitable famines that came with the unpredictable Nile floods. This wasn't just about food security, it was a form of wealth management, a way to smooth out the ups and downs of the economic cycle. The pharaohs even issued grain receipts, essentially, early paper money, that could be traded or used to pay taxes. By thinking ahead and preparing for lean times, the Egyptians created a stable society that could weather almost any storm. Contrast that with the fate of the Roman Empire. At its height, Rome was the richest, most powerful civilization the world had ever seen. But its leaders made a fatal mistake. They ignored the dangers of inflation. To pay for endless wars and lavish public works, the emperors began debasing the currency, mixing cheaper metals into their silver coins. At first, it seemed like a clever trick. The government could mint more coins and spend more money. But as the value of the currency fell, prices soared, savings were wiped out, and trust in the economy collapsed. Sound familiar? It's a warning that echoes through the ages, from Weimar Germany to modern Venezuela. No matter how advanced your society, you can't print your way to prosperity. But not all ancient money lessons are cautionary tales. Some are stories of innovation and resilience. Take the Phoenicians, a seafaring people who built a trading empire stretching from the shores of Lebanon to the coast of Spain. The Phoenicians understood the power of networks. They didn't just trade goods, they traded information, ideas, and technology. By building relationships with distant cultures, they gained access to new markets and new opportunities. They also invented one of the first alphabets, making it easier to keep records and communicate across vast distances. In today's world, where connections are currency, the Phoenicians' example is more relevant than ever. Your network is your net worth, and the ability to adapt and learn from others is the key to long-term success. Finally, let's visit ancient China, where the concept of fiat money was born. The Chinese were the first to issue paper currency backed not by gold or silver, but by the authority of the state. This innovation made trade faster and more efficient, but it also required careful management. When the government printed too much money, inflation soared and the economy suffered. But when used wisely, paper money helped China become one of the world's great economic powers. The lesson: innovation can create incredible opportunities, but it also comes with risks. The key is to balance creativity with discipline, and to never lose sight of the fundamentals. So, what do these ancient stories have to do with you? More than you might think. Whether you're managing your personal finances, running a business, or investing for the future, the principles that shape the fortunes of empires are the same ones that can help you build lasting wealth today. Trust, diversification, long-term planning, sound money, and the power of networks. These are the money lessons from ancient civilizations that you're still ignoring. But you don't have to. By learning from the past, you can avoid the mistakes that doomed empires and seize the opportunities that made fortunes. Let's dig deeper into these lessons, starting with the first: trust. In ancient Mesopotamia, trust wasn't just a nice idea, it was the backbone of the entire economy. Imagine a world where there were no banks as we know them, no credit cards, and no digital records. Every transaction depended on the belief that both parties would honor their word. That's why the Babylonians developed such detailed contracts, and why they carved them into clay tablets that could last for centuries. If someone broke a deal, it wasn't just a personal problem, it threatened the stability of the whole community. The lesson here is timeless. Your reputation is your most valuable asset. In today's world, where online reviews and social media can make or break a business overnight, the importance of trust has only grown. Whether you're lending money to a friend, hiring a contractor, or investing in a new venture, always remember that trust is the currency that underpins every successful relationship. But trust alone isn't enough. The Babylonians also understood the importance of diversification. They knew that putting all your eggs in one basket was a recipe for disaster. That's why they spread their investments across different sectors: agriculture, trade, construction, and more. This strategy protected them from the inevitable ups and downs of the market. If a drought ruined their crops, they still had income from trade or lending. If a war disrupted trade routes, their investments in local businesses kept them afloat. This approach is just as relevant today. Too many people make the mistake of betting everything on a single stock, a single business, or even a single source of income. But history shows that the most resilient fortunes are built on a foundation of diversity. By spreading your risks, you increase your chances of surviving and thriving no matter what the future holds. Now, let's turn our attention to ancient Egypt, where long-term planning was a way of life. The Egyptians didn't just think about the next harvest or the next year, they planned for generations. The construction of the pyramids, the management of the Nile's floods, and the storage of surplus grain all required a level of foresight that's rare even today. The Egyptians understood that prosperity wasn't just about making money, it was about preserving it. They built granaries to store food during good years, so they could survive the inevitable famines. They issued grain receipts that could be traded like money, creating a stable and flexible financial system. The lesson here is clear. If you want to build lasting wealth, you need to think beyond the present moment. Whether you're saving for retirement, investing in your children's education, or planning for a rainy day, the key is to prepare for the future. Don't let short-term temptations derail your long-term goals. The Egyptians survived for millennia because they mastered the art of planning ahead. You can do the same? Of course, not every civilization got it right. The Roman Empire is a cautionary tale of what happens when leaders ignore the dangers of inflation. At its peak, Rome was the envy of the world, a vast empire stretching from Britain to Egypt, with a sophisticated economy and a powerful military. But as the costs of empire grew, the emperors faced a dilemma: how to pay for their armies, their public works, and their lavish lifestyles. Their solution was to debase the currency, mixing cheaper metals into their silver coins, and minting more money to cover their expenses. At first, this seemed like a clever trick. The government could spend more without raising taxes, but the consequences were disastrous. As the value of the currency fell, prices soared, savings were wiped out, and trust in the economy collapsed. The middle class was destroyed, and the empire was plunged into chaos. The lesson is as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. You can print your way to prosperity. Sound money is the foundation of a healthy economy. If you ignore this lesson, you risk repeating the mistakes that led to Rome's downfall. But history isn't just a series of warnings, it's also a source of inspiration. The Phoenicians, for example, were masters of innovation and adaptation. They built a trading empire that spanned the Mediterranean, connecting cultures and economies from the Middle East to Spain. The Phoenicians understood that wealth wasn't just about accumulating gold or silver, it was about building networks. They traded not just goods, but information, ideas, and technology. They invented one of the first alphabets, making it easier to keep records and communicate across vast distances. They adapted to new markets, learned from their competitors, and constantly sought out new opportunities. In today's world, where change is the only constant, the Phoenicians' example is more relevant than ever. Your ability to adapt, to learn, and to build relationships is the key to long-term success. Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone, to explore new markets, or to connect with people from different backgrounds. The world is full of opportunities for those who are willing to seek them out. Finally, let's revisit ancient China, where the invention of paper money revolutionized the economy. The Chinese were the first to issue currency backed not by gold or silver, but by the authority of the state. This innovation made trade faster and more efficient, but it also required careful management. When the government printed too much money, inflation soared and the economy suffered. But when used wisely, paper money helped China become one of the world's great economic powers. The lesson here about balance: innovation can create incredible opportunities, but it also comes with risks. The key is to balance creativity with discipline, and to never lose sight of the fundamentals. Whether you're investing in new technology, starting a business, or managing your personal finances, remember that the most successful ventures are those that combine bold ideas with careful planning. These 5 money lessons from ancient civilizations: trust, diversification, long-term planning, sound money, and the power of networks are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. By learning from the past, you can avoid the mistakes that doomed empires and seize the opportunities that made fortunes. The stories of Babylon, Egypt, Rome, Phoenicia, and China aren't just history, they're a roadmap for building lasting wealth in any era. Now, let's bring these ancient lessons into the present and see how they can transform your financial life today. It's easy to look at the past and think, that was then, this is now. But the truth is, the same forces that shape the destinies of empires are at work in our lives every single day. The difference is, you have the benefit of hindsight. You can learn from their triumphs and their mistakes, and use that knowledge to make smarter choices for yourself and your family. Let's start with trust. In a world where scams, fraud, and misinformation are everywhere, trust is more valuable than ever. Think about the companies you do business with, the people you work with, and the brands you support. Why do you choose them? Chances are, it's because you trust them. You believe they'll deliver on their promises, treat you fairly, and stand by their word. That's why reputation is everything. Just like in ancient Babylon, your word is your bond. If you want to succeed in business, in investing, or in life, you need to build and protect your reputation. Be honest, be reliable, and always do what you say you'll do. It's a simple lesson, but it's the foundation of every successful relationship, personal or professional. Next, let's talk about diversification. The Babylonians didn't put all their wealth into one venture, and neither should you. In today's world, that means spreading your investments across different asset classes, stocks, bonds, real estate, and even alternative investments like gold or cryptocurrencies. It also means diversifying your sources of income. Don't rely on a single job, a single client, or a single business. Markets rise and fall, industries change, and new opportunities emerge. By diversifying, you protect yourself from the unexpected and give yourself the flexibility to adapt to whatever comes your way. Long-term planning is another lesson that's just as relevant now as it was in ancient Egypt. The Egyptians didn't just think about the next harvest, they planned for generations. In your own life, that means setting goals, making a plan, and sticking to it. Whether you're saving for retirement, buying a home, or starting a business, the key is to think ahead. Don't get caught up in short-term trends or instant gratification. Focus on the big picture. Build an emergency fund, invest for the long term, and make decisions that will benefit you not just today, but years down the road. You can do the same, no matter what your goals are. Sound money is a lesson that every generation has to learn for itself. The Romans thought they could print their way to prosperity, but it ended in disaster. Today, we see the same mistakes being made in countries around the world. Inflation erodes the value of your savings, destroys trust in the economy, and makes it harder to plan for the future. That's why it's so important to protect your wealth. Invest in assets that hold their value over time. Be wary of get-rich-quick schemes and promises of easy money. Remember that real wealth is built slowly, through hard work, discipline, and smart decisions. Don't let the mistakes of the past become your mistakes. The power of networks is the final lesson, and it might be the most important of all. The Phoenicians built an empire not just by trading goods, but by building relationships. In today's world, your network is your net worth. The people you know, the connections you make, and the relationships you build can open doors, create opportunities, and help you achieve your goals. Don't be afraid to reach out, to ask for help, or to offer your support to others. The most successful people are those who know how to build and nurture their networks. Whether you're looking for a job, starting a business, or investing in a new venture, the right connections can make all the difference. So, what's the takeaway from all of this? The money lessons of ancient civilizations aren't just interesting stories, they're practical strategies that you can use to build a better future. Trust, diversification, long-term planning, sound money, and the power of networks. These are the principles that have stood the test of time. They helped empires rise, and they can help you achieve your own version of success. But here's the catch. Knowing these lessons isn't enough. You have to put them into practice. It's easy to nod along and think, that makes sense. But real change comes from action. Start by taking a hard look at your own finances. Are you building trust in your relationships? Are you diversifying your investments and your income? Are you planning for the long term, or just living for today? Are you protecting your wealth from inflation and bad decisions? Are you building and nurturing your network? If the answer to any of these questions is no, now is the time to make a change. The ancient world was full of challenges, wars, famines, political upheaval, and economic crises. But the people who thrived were those who learned from experience, adapted to new realities, and never stopped seeking knowledge. You have the same opportunity. The world is changing faster than ever, but the principles of success haven't changed. By learning from the past, you can build a future that's stronger, more resilient, and more prosperous than you ever imagined. So, The next time you hear a story about ancient Babylon, Egypt, Rome, Phoenicia, or China, don't just think of it as history. Think of it as a lesson, a roadmap for your own journey. The secrets to wealth, success, and happiness aren't hidden in the past. They're right in front of you, waiting to be discovered. All you have to do is listen, learn, and take action. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most people. You're willing to learn, to grow, and to challenge yourself. That's the first step on the road to success. The rest is up to you. Take these lessons, put them into practice, and watch as your own story unfolds, one decision at a time.